The cold metal floor felt strange under Dae-ho Kim's bare feet. He had been sleeping for 300 years this time. The longest sleep yet. His body ached as the machines pulled the feeding tubes from his arms. Around him, other pods opened with soft hissing sounds. Steam rose from each one as warm air met the cold sleep chambers. "Commander Kim," a soft voice said. It was Boram Lee, the ship's navigator. Her face looked tired. "You need to see this." Dae-ho pulled on his uniform. The black fabric felt heavy after so long in the pod. His hands shook a little. They always did after long sleep. "What is it, Boram?" "We found them, sir. We found the Keth." Those words hit Dae-ho like a punch to the stomach. For 10,000 years humanity had been running, hiding, growing stronger, but they had never stopped looking for their enemy. The ones who burned Earth. Boram led him through the ship's long halls. The eternal dawn was huge. It held 2 million people. Most were still sleeping in their pods. Only a few thousand were awake at any time. It was safer that way. Food lasted longer. Air lasted longer. Hope lasted longer. They reached the bridge. The big screen showed stars scattered across black space, but 3 of the stars pulsed with red light. "Those are not stars," Boram said. "Those are Keth ships. Big ones." Dae-ho stared at the screen. He remembered the last time he saw Keith's ships. He was young then, just 20 years old. Earth's sky had been full of them. Black ships that blocked out the sun. Then the burning started. "How many ships do we have ready?" Dae-ho asked. 47 in this sector. "But Commander, the other fleets got the signal too." "They are coming," Dae-ho smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Good. Wake up the War Council." All of them. 2 hours later, the ship's main meeting room was full. Taman Park sat at the big table. He was young, maybe 30. His great-grandparents had fled Earth when it burned. But he had trained his whole life for this moment. His fingers moved quickly over a tablet, checking weapon systems. Hyejin Choi was there too. She took care of the ship's medical systems. But she also studied genetics. She had been working on something special, something to make humans stronger, faster, better at fighting. "Report," Dae-ho said as he sat down. Taman spoke first. "All weapons are ready, sir. The new plasma cannons work perfectly. The shield generators are at full power. We also have the new fighters ready." "They are fast." "Really fast. How fast?" Dae-ho asked. "They can move at light speed for short bursts. The Keth have never seen anything like them." Hyejin cleared her throat. "Sir, I have news about the enhancement program. It works. We tested it on volunteers. Their reflexes are 3 times faster now. They are stronger too." "Much stronger," Dae-ho nodded. "How many can we enhance?" "All the pilots and soldiers, sir. Maybe 5,000 people." "Do it. Start now." Boram pulled up new pictures on the main screen. "Sir, we have been watching the Keth ships for 6 hours. They move in old patterns, the same patterns they used 10,000 years ago. They have not learned anything new." "But we have," Dae-ho said. He stood up and walked to a wall panel. He pressed his hand against it. The panel glowed blue, then opened. Inside was a crystal the size of his fist. It pulsed with soft light. "This is why we fight," he said. "This crystal holds the memories of 10 billion humans who died when Earth burned. Their thoughts, their dreams, their last words." The room went quiet. Everyone stared at the crystal. "They are all in there," Dae-ho continued. "My wife, my children, my parents, all the people we could not save." His voice got harder. "They speak to me sometimes." "Do you know what they say?" No one answered. "They say remember us, they say make them pay, they say come home." Dae-ho put the crystal back in its case. "For 10,000 years we have been preparing. We have built better ships, better weapons. We have made ourselves into something the Keth cannot imagine. We are not the same humans who ran from Earth." Taman raised his hand. "Sir, what about the other human fleets? When will they get here?" "Soon. Fleet Admiral Chang-ho Lim is bringing the warships from the Alpha Sector. Admiral In-ho Choi has the heavy cruisers from Beta Sector. In 3 days we will have over 200 ships here." "Will that be enough?" Hyejin asked. Dae-ho looked at each person in the room. "It will have to be. This is what we trained for, what we lived for. The Keth think we are dead, gone, forgotten. They are about to learn how wrong they are." Boram touched her tablet. New information appeared on the screen. "Sir, we are getting signals from the other sleeping ships. They are waking up their people too. Captain Dong-hyun Lee reports that his scout ships are already moving toward Keth space." "Good. What about weapons testing?" Taman smiled. We tested the new quantum bombs yesterday. They worked better than we hoped. One bomb can destroy a ship the size of a city. And the Keth shields? Our new weapons go right through them. They designed their shields to stop old human weapons. But we do not use old weapons anymore. Deho sat back down. I want battle plans ready in 12 hours. I want every ship checked and ready to fight. I want every pilot enhanced and trained on the new systems. He paused. Most importantly, I want everyone to remember why we are here. As the meeting ended, people began to leave. But Boram stayed behind. Sir, are you sure about this? The Keth Empire is huge. They have thousands of worlds. Millions of ships. Deho looked at her. His eyes were hard like steel. Boram, do you know what the difference is between them and us? No, sir. They forgot about us. But we never forgot about them. They stopped growing. We kept learning. They became soft. We became hard. He stood up. They think they won the war 10,000 years ago. But that was not a war. That was just the beginning. The eternal dawn hummed with activity as people woke up from their long sleep. Soon the ship would join the greatest fleet humanity had ever built. And then they would go home. They would go back to Earth. But first they would make the Keth pay for what they had done. The space around them twisted and bent. Colors that had no names flashed outside the ship's windows. Then everything went quiet. The Eternal Dawn and 50 other human ships appeared at the edge of Keth space like ghosts coming back from the dead. Jae-won Song stood in the engineering section, watching his screens. Numbers scrolled past faster than most people could read. But Jae-won was not most people. His brain had been enhanced like the others. He could process information 10 times faster than a normal human. All ships report successful jump, he announced over the communication system. No damage. All weapons online. Commander Dae-ho Kim's voice crackled through the speakers. Good work, Jae-won. Begin long-range scans. I want to know everything about this system. The scan results came back quickly. Jae-won frowned as he read them. Commander, you need to see this. Minutes later, Dae-ho arrived in engineering with the others. Sun Mi-yoon was with him. She was small and quiet, but her mind was sharp like a blade. She had spent years studying everything they could find about the Keth. Old battle records, broken pieces of their ships, even DNA samples from Keth soldiers who died in the First War. What do you see? Dae-ho asked. Jae-won pointed to his biggest screen. It showed a map of the star system. 12 planets. 4 of them have cities on them. But look at this. The image zoomed in on one of the planets. Those are factories, huge ones. They are making ships, and how many ships? Sunmi asked. About 50 new ones every month. But here is the strange part. The designs have not changed in thousands of years. They are still making the same ships they used to burn Earth. Sunmi leaned closer to the screen. That matches what I learned from the old records. The Keth do not change. They do not grow. When they find something that works, they keep using it forever. Kyung-soo Han spoke up from behind them. He was a big man with scars on his arms. A soldier. He commanded the Marines who would fight on enemy ships and planets. That makes them predictable. We can plan for their moves. Yes, Sunmi said. But it also makes them dangerous in other ways. They have had 10,000 years to build more ships, more weapons, more soldiers. Dae-ho studied the scan data. What about their technology? Are they still using the same weapons too? Mostly yes, Jae-won answered. But we found something interesting. They have been taking technology from other species. Look at this. He showed them scans of Keth ships. See these weapon systems? They did not make them. Someone else did. Who? Dae-ho asked. Sunmi pulled up new files on another screen. We think they conquered other planets. Other species. Then they stole their technology and made it their own. The room went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. How many species? Kyung-soo asked. We are not sure. Maybe dozens. Maybe hundreds. Mi-young-jang entered the room carrying a tablet. She was the ship's weapons expert. Her job was to design new ways to fight the Keth. Commander, I finished testing the new weapons. You will want to hear this. Go ahead, Dae-ho said. The quantum disruptors work perfectly. Keth shields cannot stop them. The temporal mines are ready too. We can place them anywhere in space and time. When Keth ships get close, the mines will explode in the past, present, and future all at once. Kyung-soo smiled. That will confuse them. But the best weapon is still us, Mi-young continued. Humans adapt, we learn. We change our tactics when something does not work. The Keth do not, Sunmi nodded. I have been studying their battle records. In 10,000 years of fighting, they have used the same strategies over and over. Line up their ships, fire their big guns, try to overwhelm the enemy with numbers. What if the enemy does not fight the way they expect? Taeho asked. Then they lose, Sunmi said simply. Jae-won's screen beeped. Commander, we are getting new readings. Something big is moving toward us. The main display showed space around their fleet. A massive object was approaching from deeper in the system. It was the size of a small moon, but it moved too fast to be a planet. Keth battleship, Sunmi said. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. I have seen pictures of them in the old records. This one is bigger than anything they had during the Earth War. How much bigger? Taeho asked. That ship could hold 1 million soldiers. Its main gun could destroy a planet. Kyung-soo checked his weapons. How many Marines do we have ready? 5,000 across all ships, Taeho answered. All enhanced. All trained for ship-to-ship combat. That will not be enough to capture something that big. We are not going to capture it, Mi-young said. She was working on her tablet, entering new commands. We are going to test our new weapons on it. The massive Keth ship kept coming closer. It did not try to hide. It did not change course. It just moved straight toward the human fleet like a mountain rolling through space. Typical Keth behavior, Sunmi observed. They always attack the same way. Straightforward, no tricks, no surprises. That makes them easy targets, Mi-young said. She looked at Taeho. Commander, I recommend we let them get closer. Then hit them with everything at once. How close? Close enough that they cannot miss us either. If this works, it will send a message to every Keth in this system. Taeho thought for a moment. What message? That humanity is back, and we are not the same species that ran from Earth. The human fleet waited. The Keth battleship came closer. When it was close enough to see their ships clearly, it began to slow down. Lights flashed along its hull. Weapon systems powered up. They are scanning us, Jae-won reported, trying to figure out what we are. Let them look, Taeho said. Fire when ready, Mi-young. Firing quantum disruptors now. Beams of twisted light shot from the human ships. They passed through the Keth shields like the shields were not there. The enemy ship's hull began to glow, then crack, then melt. Direct hits, Mi-young reported. Their shields cannot stop our weapons. Deploy temporal mines, Taeho ordered. Invisible mines appeared around the Keth ship. They exploded in flashes of light that hurt to look at. Each explosion happened in multiple time streams at once. The Keth ship was hit by weapons that had been fired in the past, present, and future. The massive battleship began to break apart. Pieces of metal the size of buildings floated away into space. Emergency lights flashed along what was left of the hull. They are trying to send a message, Jae-won said. Should I block it? No, Taeho said. Let them tell their friends what happened here. Let them know that the humans have returned. The Keth ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the whole star system. When the light faded, nothing was left but debris. That, said Kyung-soo, was a good start. Admiral Chang-ho Lim stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Vengeful Star. Through the big windows, he could see the Keth industrial world called Morthak, spinning slowly in space below. The planet's surface was covered with factories and mining operations. Millions of workers moved like ants between the buildings. All ships report ready, announced Yoon-seo Kim from her communications station. She was young but skilled at her job. She could speak 12 different alien languages and crack most enemy codes. The attack fleets at the other 2 planets are also in position. Chang-ho nodded. This was the plan. Hit 3 Keth worlds at the same time. Show them that humanity was not just back, but back in force. Begin the assault. Light filled space as 200 human ships opened fire at once. Their weapons were invisible to most sensors, but their effects were not. Keth factories exploded. Mining equipment melted. Defense stations simply disappeared. Enemy ships launching, reported Captain Dong-hyun Lee from his scout ship. He had been watching Morthak for 3 days, learning its defenses. I count about 30 ships. Old designs. Moving in formation, Chang-ho smiled. Same tactics they used 10,000 years ago. Hyun-seo, send them our message. Hyun-seo's fingers moved over her controls. She broadcast on all Keth communication frequencies at once. The message was simple, spoken in the old Keth language that humans had learned from captured records. This is Admiral Chang-ho Lim of the Human Defense Fleet. We are the children of Earth. We have returned to collect what you owe us. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly. Continue to fight, and you will share the fate of your homeworld. The response came quickly. The Keth did not use words. They fired their weapons. Typical, said Jihai Park from her station. She was the ship's expert on alien psychology. She had studied how different species thought and fought. They cannot imagine that anyone would dare attack them. In their minds, they are still the masters of the galaxy. The battle did not last long. Keth weapons bounced off human shields like rocks thrown at a mountain. Human weapons cut through Keth armor like it was made of paper. In 20 minutes, all 30 enemy ships were destroyed or disabled. Admiral, Yunseo said, I am getting communications from the other attack sites. Both assaults were successful. The Keth lost over 100 ships total. Good. What about prisoners? Captain Dong Hyun's teams captured several Keth commanders. They are being brought up for questioning now. Chang Ho turned to Jihai. Are you ready to talk to them? Yes, sir. But I should warn you, Keth minds work differently than human minds. They do not understand concepts like mercy or surrender. To them, there are only masters and slaves. The first Keth prisoner was brought to the interrogation room an hour later. It was tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. Mechanical implants covered parts of its body. Wires ran from these implants into its skull. Jihai sat across from it at a metal table. Do you understand me? She asked in the Keth language. The alien looked at her with no expression. You are the extinct species, the one from the small blue world. We are humans, and we are not extinct. Impossible. We cleansed your world 10,000 years ago. Nothing survived. Jihi leaned forward. Many things survived. We survived. Our anger survived. Our memory survived. For the first time, the Keth showed emotion. Its eyes widened. How many of you are there? More than you can imagine. We have been growing, learning, preparing. The alien was quiet for a long moment. Then it said something that surprised everyone in the room. Why did you come back? Your species could have found new worlds, built new cities. Why return to a dead system? Because Earth was our home. And because you need to pay for what you did. Pay? The Keth seemed confused. We owed you nothing. You were simply in our path. Jihai stood up. That is exactly why you need to pay. Later, Chang Ho met with his senior officers in the war room. Captain Dong Hyun had finished checking the planet's databases. What he found changed everything. Admiral, the Keth have detailed records of what they did to Earth. Everything is here. Population counts before the attack. Resource surveys. Even videos of the burning. Show me, Chang Ho said. The main screen filled with images from 10,000 years ago. Earth as it used to be. Blue oceans. Green forests. Cities full of people. Then the images changed. Keth ships filled the sky. Weapons fired down from orbit. The oceans began to boil. The forest caught fire. The cities turned to glass. They kept it all. Dong Hyun continued. Like a trophy collection. But that is not the worst part. What is the worst part? They did the same thing to 47 other worlds. 47 other species. All dead, all recorded. All kept as trophies. The room went silent. Everyone stared at the screen showing world after world burning under Keth weapons. Where are these worlds now? Chang Ho asked. Yunseo checked her data. Most were turned into resource extraction sites. A few became data storage facilities. One was converted into a prison world for surviving members of conquered species. Survivors? Yes, sir. The Keth keep some members of each species they conquer. For study. For slave labor. For entertainment. Chang Ho felt his anger growing. How many? The records show about 50 million beings from various species. All enslaved. All forced to work for the Keth. Jihi looked up from her tablet. Admiral, this changes our mission. We are not just fighting for Earth anymore. We are fighting for every species the Keth have ever conquered. Then we better make sure we win. Chang Ho said. Dong Hyun brought up a new image on the screen. It showed a planet that looked like a giant crystal ball floating in space. This is what Earth looks like now. The Keth turned the whole planet into a data storage facility. Every human artifact they could find is preserved there. Books, music, art, even DNA samples. Why? Chang Ho asked. The records say they wanted to study human creativity. They found it interesting. Chang Ho stared at the crystal Earth, his home world, the place where his ancestors were born. Now it was a museum for the enemy to study. Yunseo, send a message to all human fleets. Tell them what we found here. Tell them about the other species. Tell them about Earth. Yes, sir. What else should I tell them? Chang Ho stood up and walked to the window. Below, the Keth industrial world was still burning from their attack. Tell them we are not just here for revenge anymore. We are here for justice. And justice means freeing everyone the Keth have enslaved. Including Earth? Chang-ho turned back to his officers. Especially Earth. Whatever they have done to our homeworld, we are going to undo it. We are going to bring Earth back to life. How do we do that? Ji-hai asked. First we free the prisoners, then we take apart the Keth Empire piece by piece. And then... Chang-ho looked at the image of Crystal Earth one more time. Then we go home. Supreme Commander In-ho Choi stood in the command center of the massive battleship Final Judgment. Around him, dozens of screens showed star maps, battle reports, and casualty lists. The numbers were getting worse every day. Sir called Yejin-ko from her station. She was in charge of coordinating the refugee fleets that followed behind the warships. We have a problem. The Keth just used planet killers on 3 of our colony worlds. In-ho felt his heart sink. How many people? New Geneva had 2 billion residents. Kepler Station had 500 million. Haven Colony had 800 million. Yejin's voice was steady, but her hands shook as she spoke. All gone, sir. The Keith weapons turned the planets into dust. The command center went quiet. 3.5 billion people. Dead in one day. Why? Asked Seok Jin-woo from his pilot's chair. He was the best fighter pilot in the human fleet. His squadron had shot down over 1,000 Keth ships. Why kill civilians? They were not fighting anyone. In-ho looked at the tactical display. Because the Keth finally understand what we are capable of. They know they cannot beat us in straight combat anymore. So they are trying to make us stop by killing everyone we care about. Na Yun-shin looked up from her computer terminal. She was young, maybe 25, but she was a genius with artificial intelligence systems. She had designed many of the computer programs that helped human ships fight so effectively. Sir, I have been analyzing Keth communication intercepts. Their leadership is panicking. They never expected us to be this strong. They thought we would still be using the same technology we had 10,000 years ago. What are they saying exactly? In-ho asked. They keep talking about how we are not supposed to exist, how we should have stayed dead. They are calling emergency meetings across their entire empire. Seok Jin stood up from his chair. Good, let them panic. Let them understand what it feels like to be afraid. But they are not just panicking, Na-yun continued. They are also getting desperate. The planet killer attacks are just the beginning. Intelligence reports say they are activating ancient weapon systems that have been dormant for thousands of years. In-ho studied the star charts. The Keith Empire was huge. Hundreds of star systems, thousands of worlds, millions of ships. Even with all their victories, humanity was still badly outnumbered. What do our losses look like? He asked. Yejin checked her reports. We have lost 47 ships in the last month. Most were destroyed covering the evacuation of the colony worlds. We saved about 60% of the civilians. That means 40% died. Yes, sir. In-ho closed his eyes. 2 billion people from New Geneva alone. Men, women, children. Families who had built new lives after their ancestors fled the burning earth. Now they were all dead because the Keth refused to accept that humans had the right to exist. Sir, Seok Jin said, my pilots are asking for permission to strike back at Keth civilian targets. They want to make them pay for what happened to New Geneva. No, In-ho said firmly. We do not kill civilians. That is what makes us different from them. But sir, I said no. In-ho turned to face the pilot. The moment we start acting like the Keth, we become no better than they are. We fight military targets only. Na-yun raised her hand. Sir, I might have found another way to hurt them. My analysis of their communication networks shows something interesting. Go on. The Keth Empire is not as united as it appears. There are factions, groups that disagree with each other. Some of them think the war against humanity is a mistake. How do you know this? Intercepted messages between their commanders. Some Keth generals are saying that humanity should be offered a peace treaty. They want to end the war before more of their ships are destroyed. In-ho thought about this. What do the other factions want? Total war. They want to use every weapon they have to wipe out humanity completely. They say that allowing any humans to survive was their mistake 10,000 years ago. Yejin looked up from her console. Sir, we are getting reports from the forward scouts. The Keth are moving massive fleets toward our remaining colony worlds. It looks like they have chosen total war. How massive? Over 3,000 ships in each fleet. They are bringing everything they have. Seok Jin whistled. That is 10 times bigger than anything we have fought so far. Can we evacuate the colonies in time? In-ho asked. Maybe, Yejin said. But we would have to abandon most of our equipment and supplies. The people would survive, but we would lose years of preparation for the main assault on Keth space. In-ho walked to the big window that looked out into space. Hundreds of human ships moved in formation around his flagship. Each ship represented thousands of people, soldiers, engineers, medics, pilots, all of them depending on his decisions. Naeon, what would happen if we used our new superweapons against their fleets? The World Breaker array could destroy all 3,000 ships at once, but we only have enough power for one shot. After that, we would need months to recharge. And if we use it now, we will not have it when we assault their homeworld. Correct, sir. In-ho thought about the choices. Save the colonies and lose the war, or sacrifice the colonies and keep the weapon that could end everything. There is another option, Seokjin said quietly. We could split our forces. Send half to defend the colonies.
Use the other half to continue attacking Keth military targets. That would weaken both forces, Yejin pointed out.
We might not be able to save the colonies or continue the offensive, but we would still be fighting on two fronts. The Keith would have to divide their attention too. Naeun looked up from her computers. Actually, that might work. My analysis shows that the Keth have trouble coordinating multiple operations at the same time. Their command structure is too rigid. In-ho made his decision. We split the fleet. Yejin, you take 200 ships and evacuate as many colonies as you can. Fight delaying actions against their fleets. Make them work for every victory. Yes, sir. Seokjin, you take your fighter squadrons and hit their supply lines. I want their reinforcement fleets to arrive hungry and low on fuel. Understood. Naeun, I want you to work on something special. If the Keth want total war, then let us give them total war. But our way, what do you want me to do? In-ho looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, still a crystal prison built from the bones of his homeworld, still waiting for its children to come home. I want you to find a way to turn their own weapons against them. Every species they conquered had technology. Every world they destroyed had knowledge. All of that information is stored in their databases. You want me to hack their systems? I want you to wake up every piece of stolen technology they have ever used. I want the ghosts of 47 dead civilizations to rise up and fight alongside us. Naeun smiled. It was not a nice smile. That is possible. It would take time, but it is possible. How much time? Maybe 3 months. Maybe 4. You have 2 months, In-ho said. After that, we attack their homeworld with everything we have left. As his officers began preparing for their missions, In-ho stayed at the window. The stars looked the same as they had 10,000 years ago when his ancestors fled the burning earth. But everything else had changed. Humanity was no longer running. They were no longer hiding. They were fighting back with weapons and tactics the Keth could not imagine. The price was terrible. Billions dead, entire worlds destroyed. But the alternative was worse. The alternative was extinction. We are coming home, Earth, he whispered to the stars. Just hold on a little longer. Fleet Marshal Hyun-woo Kang stood in the war room of the Last Hope, looking at the largest star map ever created. It showed the path to Kethros Prime, the ancient homeworld of humanity's enemy. Red dots marked defensive stations. Yellow dots showed patrol routes. Blue dots indicated minefields that could destroy entire fleets. It looks impossible, said So Young-bae from across the table. She was small and quiet, but she led the most dangerous soldiers in the human fleet. Her commandos could infiltrate any ship, any station, any fortress. They have had 10,000 years to build defenses around their homeworld. Impossible is what we do best, replied Jun-ho Oh. He was the chief engineer of the World Breaker Array, the most powerful weapon humanity had ever built. Besides, they built those defenses to stop the old humanity. They have no idea what we can do now. Aerie Moon looked up from her tablet. She was an expert on alien cultures and history. For months, she had been studying everything the humans had learned about Kethros Prime. The planet itself is artificial. The Keth rebuilt their homeworld thousands of years ago. It is not just a planet anymore. It is a weapon. What kind of weapon? Hyun-woo asked. The whole planet can focus energy from their star and fire it at targets anywhere in the galaxy. That is how they destroyed the colony world so quickly. They did not send ships. They fired their planet at us. The room went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. How do we fight a planet? So Young asked. Jun-ho smiled grimly. We use a bigger weapon. He activated a hologram in the center of the table. It showed the Worldbreaker Array in all its terrible glory. The weapon was the size of a small moon, built over 7 years from the wreckage of dead Keth ships and the compressed energy of dying stars. One shot, Jun-Ho continued. That is all we get. But one shot will be enough to crack a planet in half. What about the defenses? Hyun-Woo asked. How do we get close enough to use it? So-Young pulled up new images on her tablet. My commandos have been busy. We have infiltrated 17 defensive stations already. When you give the word, we will disable their shields and weapons from the inside. How many commandos did you lose? So-Young's face darkened. Too many. But they knew the risks. They all volunteered. Ari cleared her throat. There is something else you need to know about Kethros Prime. It is not just their homeworld. It is their memory bank. Every Keth who has ever lived has their consciousness stored there. If we destroy the planet, we will be committing genocide on a scale never seen before. The room went silent again. Hyun-Woo looked at each of his officers. These were good people. Honorable people. The thought of wiping out an entire species troubled them all. How many Keth consciousness are stored there? He asked. Billions. Maybe trillions. They have been uploading their minds to the planet for over 50,000 years. Jun-Ho set down his tools. Sir, maybe we should reconsider. Maybe there is another way. What other way? Hyun-Woo asked. They used their planet weapon to kill billions of our people. They turned Earth into a crystal trophy. They enslaved 47 species. What mercy have they shown anyone? None, So-Young said quietly. But does that mean we should show them none in return? Hyun-Woo walked to the window. Outside, the human fleet was getting ready for the final battle. Over 400 ships. The survivors of 10,000 years of exile. The children of Earth coming home at last. Ari, in all your studies of Keth culture, did you ever find any evidence that they feel regret? Any sign that they understand what they have done is wrong? No, sir. They see other species as resources to be used. Nothing more? So-Young, when your commandos interrogated Keth prisoners, did any of them express guilt about the genocide of other species? No, sir. They were proud of it. They called it efficient resource management. Jun-Ho, if we do not destroy their planet weapon, how many more worlds will they burn? The engineer thought for a moment. All of them. Every human colony. Every liberated world. They will not stop until we are all dead. Hyun-Woo turned back to face his officers. Then we have our answer. We came here to make them pay for what they did to Earth. To us. To 47 other species. That payment is due. Sir, Ari said, I need to tell you one more thing. The approach to Kethros Prime will take us through a system called the Graveyard. It is where they keep the remains of all the worlds they have destroyed. Including Earth? No. Earth is at Kethros Prime itself in orbit around their homeworld. But the Graveyard contains pieces of the other 47 worlds. Chunks of planets, broken moons, the bones of dead civilizations, So-Young looked up. That could work in our favor. We can hide the fleet among the debris. Use the wreckage as cover. It will also remind our people what we are fighting for, Hyun-Woo said. 3 days later, the human fleet entered the Graveyard. What they saw there would haunt them forever. Floating in space were the remains of worlds that had once been green and blue and full of life. Now they were just rocks drifting in the void. Communications from the Eternal Dawn, announced the ship's communication officer. Commander Dae-Ho Kim reports that his people are requesting permission to collect samples from the dead worlds. Why? Hyun-Woo asked. They want to preserve DNA, cultural artifacts, anything that might help rebuild these civilizations after the war. Granted, but make it quick. We do not have much time. As the fleet moved deeper into the Graveyard, they began to encounter the outer defenses of Kethros Prime. Automated weapon platforms opened fire. Shield generators powered up. Warning signals echoed across all communication frequencies. So-Young, are your people in position? Hyun-Woo asked. All 17 stations are compromised. We are ready to disable their defenses on your command. Jun-Ho, how long until the Worldbreaker array is ready to fire? 6 hours, sir. We need to get closer to the planet for maximum effect. The fighting began as human ships engaged the outer defense grid. Keth weapons were powerful, but they were also predictable. Human tactics were not. Fighter squadrons appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Capital ships fired weapons that bent space and time. The ancient Keth defenses, built to fight wars from thousands of years ago, could not adapt. Breakthrough at Sector 7, reported the tactical officer. Enemy defense line is collapsing. All ships advance. Keep pressure on all fronts. As they pushed deeper toward Kethros Prime, Hyun-Woo got his first clear look at the enemy homeworld. It was beautiful in a terrible way. The whole planet glowed with artificial light. Cities covered every surface. Space elevators reached up into orbit like silver threads, and there, floating above the planet like a small moon, was Earth. Still transformed into a crystal sphere, but unmistakably the homeworld of humanity. There she is, Hyunwoo whispered. There is Earth. The final battle was about to begin. Hundreds of human ships against the most defended planet in the galaxy. The Worldbreaker array against a weapon that could destroy stars. Everything would be decided in the next few hours. Either humanity would go home at last or they would die trying. All ships, Hyunwoo announced over the fleet communication system. This is what we came for. This is what 10,000 years of preparation has led to. Today we settle the debt. Today we make them pay for what they did to our world. Today we bring our children home. The human fleet charged toward Kethros Prime like an arrow aimed at the heart of the enemy. Behind them, the ghosts of 47 dead worlds seemed to follow, demanding justice at last.